The mental health well-being is what you need to see. Like if you need to be functional in your everyday life. You should be able to work properly, to learn, to have meaningful relationships, and if these things are making you not be able to work properly in your everyday, then you can start spotting these signs. Because we are very sad or worried, and this starts to be like a snowball. So there's where you start to spot these mental illness signs, because you need to get some help. So for example, if you feel sad all the time, if you feel worried all the time, if you feel under stress all the time, because stress and anxiety are like the baselines for then it might develop into a mental illness. So the best to do is to be proactive. So even you or your family can notice that you are changing. You're changing how you were enjoying life. Like if you start to feeling like, I don't want to go out, I don't want to meet people, I don't want to, those are signs that something is happening. So the best thing is like to get like a psychologist to work with, so you can start to analyze a little what is happening with you. Because if you don't be proactive, if you don't work before, then the house is on fire. So when you're having a panic attack, there were many steps before the panic attack that you couldn't pay attention before. So I think the most important is like always try to see how you feel. I want to do my job, I want to wake up in the morning, I want to go to the office. I feel anxious, because always stress, a little stress is fine. A little of anxious is fine because they prepare you for the future. But when these became chronic, that's when it's a problem. So everything in balance is a good thing. It could be the start of some mental issues because, for example, the anxiety, when it turns like so much, you cannot control it. So when you start thinking about what other people think about you, or your boss in the office, or what is going to happen, and when all this is called automatic negative thoughts, this downward spiral that you cannot stop it. So that's a problem. So you need to be ahead of the problem and try to work on your self-development, work on your feelings, try to analyze, and that's why psychologists are good, because you go and you talk about your emotions, because sometimes we don't talk about this with our family or our friends because we're scared, we are afraid, we don't want them to see us that we have some issue, but it's very normal, and it's good to talk these things through. The stress, as I said, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Because we need stress to be alert right now, to be having this talk, to be alert when we are driving. The important thing is coming back from that spike of stress. So we are driving and somebody stop and you feel that stress, but then you need to be able to come back. So in that measure, in that reaction, it's fine. But when you are under stress non-stop, then that's the problem. So from neuroscience point of view, when we are under stress, our brains send a signal to the hypothalamus, and it sends, I think the hormone cortisol, and the cortisol makes us feel like our heartbeats start beating faster, and it's very difficult to manage the situation. So in that moment, the amygdala, that it's a very tiny part of our brain and it's our emotional part, start to freak out. It's the fear part of the brain. So in that moment, you start to think all the bad things. Oh, now he stopped me and I'm going to, and all these negative thoughts start to appear in your brain, and what happens when the amygdala turns on and activated, the prefrontal cortex deactivate. So the prefrontal cortex is our logical part when we think. So our thinking is gone. When we are emotional, that's why we always say that when you're emotional, don't take decisions, because your prefrontal cortex is not working. You are very overwhelmed that you cannot think. So in these situations, we need to, the same as before, be proactive and taking care of us with our working with the therapists, working on our self-development, how we could act in moments of stress. And mindfulness is very good for this. Meditation, like everything that you can do to calm yourself down or to have the tools for when the moment of the stress arrives, you have the tools to manage it. And when you are in that moment, I think the best way to react to the stress is breathing. When you breathe one in, you inhale in one and exhale double. You put it down your system, like the parasympathetic system activates, because with your diaphragm you send the signal to the brain that it needs to breathe, to the heartbeat to be slower. So when you breathe, inhale one, exhale two, you calm down in that moment. It's very fast, so you can actually use it in your when you are under stress. And other thing that I really like, and it's not always possible, it's walking. Like when you are under a lot of stress, you have a deadline, you have like it's too much, go for a walk a little fast, and that will calm your system down. But also it's connected with without your phone. You need to walk outside without looking at your phone. You need to be walking and looking at everything. And when you're looking at everything, your eyes are moving. And we process the information when the eyes are moving. And there is one technique called EMDR. And the psychologists, they use to process trauma and emotions. But you can also like be walking, and when you are moving in this lateral side, your eyes, you are processing the emotions. So you were nervous, you were stressed, everything, you go for a walk and you are looking at the trees, looking at the streets, everything, and your eyes are moving and you are relaxing. So these two things, I think they are like super important for the moment of stress. But I think it's very, very important the before. I think like we can create habits in our life so we can prepare our body for the stressful moments. So when I think for me the best thing was meditation. I started to meditate I think 7 years ago, and it gave me a lot of like calmness to the moments when I am nervous or I'm having a stressful situation. Kind of like working so much in my meditation gives me a peaceful react to the moments. Then working a lot on the self-development, on how we feel with the outside world, how we think, because I know a lot of my clients, they are very worried about what other people think about them. If I don't do this, then they will think this, and it's a very big like downward spiral, and I think that creates a lot of anxiety, and it's going up and up. And as we say before, a little is fine, but then it's too much. So I think working on the negative thoughts, it's very important. And what other people think about you, like and know yourself, your feelings, how you feel, because when other people, it's I have one time I was saying about this situation because I was listening to a podcast in my car and I was driving and somebody said something really funny, and I was driving, and there was a girl going to cross the pedestrian. So I stopped and she crossed, and when she's crossing, I'm laughing so much because it was so funny, the video. But she looked at me and she took her dress and she started looking around thinking that I was laughing about her. And probably she left home thinking that, oh, that girl in the car was laughing about maybe my dress or something. But I wasn't. So there are so many situations that we feel, we have this anxiety that what the other people is thinking about me, and create a whole problem when it doesn't exist. So I think those things we need to think before and work on them, because I can see that very often, like people, clients coming and saying that no, because they think I'm not smart, they think this, and why do you think they think that? Well, because I think they think, but you don't know what they think. Well, I think, and
yes.
This is very important to work before. Then I think sleeping makes the big difference for everything, because your brain needs to sleep 7 hours. Like your neurons each neuron has around another type of neurons that they are like the housekeeping of this neuron. So when you go to sleep, these other ones, they are cleaning the neurons and they're preparing you for the next day. So you need to sleep to be able to function properly, because when your prefrontal cortex goes down, then you start thinking all these thoughts and everything. So the idea is to kind of hold that emotional part a little better. But if you ask any mother that they are having a newborn and they are not sleeping in the night, the next day they are exhausted and they are like nervous about many things because they didn't have the sleeping time. And I think it's very, very, very important to sleep. And then food and like you need to have a good type of food, and for your mental health. Like people, they don't relate it, but if you're eating really bad quality of food or pizzas or all these kind of things, you need to eat like vegetables, and you need vitamins for your brain. So it's very important for your mental health that you give to your body what it needs. And it's related for, well, actually it's everything, because everything that you put in your body, what you listen, what you read, don't watch the news. Like the news you need to be updated, but the news have so many drama, and when you see these things, then you feel those things, because we have like these mirroring neurons, and when somebody's suffering, you suffer. So these things, you need to be very careful to what you put in your body. Eating, hearing, looking, everything. Mindfulness, it's very important to as a preventive to all this stress and anxiety. And I found that meditation helped me a lot, because 7-8 years ago, when I started studying neuroscience and everything, it's because I couldn't understand why I was having so many negative thoughts. And one of the first things they were recommending me was meditation. But mindfulness is not just meditation. Mindfulness is also be present in the moment. So if I'm here, I'm enjoying this tea, I'm here. Like you need to be there, and that helps you a lot with as a preventive. And also, I think one of the most important for me is like when I'm very nervous or high stress, high anxiety, you can be in the moment and start seeing like, okay, watch 5 things and you are like, okay, the green pot, the cup, you know, and you are looking at these 5 things. Then 4 things that you can hear. And like this, so you are coming back to your place and be present. And I think mindfulness is like very, very, very big thing, but some of those things are meditation and being present. Most important is like be aware of how you feel, like how if something is wrong, if your body is telling you, or you have anxiety, or you are not feeling good, talk with somebody, talk with a therapist. And oh yeah, I want to add something, because sometimes the therapist, like people go to a therapist and they don't like the therapist and they don't want to go anymore. But I think you need to keep trying, because there are so many good psychologists out there, but you match with the energy and everything, not with everybody. So if you are not feeling good and you try one psychologist and you didn't like the experience, don't give up. Try to find another one, and try to find that connection, because even with friends, we don't connect with everybody the same. With colleagues, we don't connect with everybody the same. So it's the same with this, like if you want to have a psychologist and you know that you might need some help with something, keep trying until you feel like, oh, this is it, I feel good here, and then you can work on the things, and don't wait until the house is on fire. Yeah, just do it before, like be proactive, and that's my suggestion.